A teenager in Augusta County is being recognized for her outstanding work in agriculture, and she's hoping to take her love of the work across the world. Isabel Leonard stays hard at work, not just on Colbell Farm, owned by her family, but in school too. Leonard has earned several scholarships from the National 4-H Dairy Conference, the Lions Club, and most recently the Maryland and Virginia Milk Producers Cooperative. Graduating in 2016 from Riverheads High School, the 2015 Virginia Dairy Princess took a gap year to become a state officer for the Future Farmers of America, meaning she served as an ambassador for the organization to middle and high schools. In the fall, she's headed to Ivy League Cornell University to study international agriculture and rural development.
I'm interested in international trade and developing countries, how we in the U.S. can help feed the growing population. It's supposed to be 9 billion by the year 2050, and it's going to take farmers from across the world to feed that entire population.
Leonard says the science aspect of agriculture is truly what sparked her interest, and she already started exploring the world as well, taking trips to Europe and Southeast Asia. Isabel says she plans to head to Cuba next week to do some volunteering. Reporting in Augusta County, I'm Avery Powell, WHSV.
Hey John, I talked to the fire department this morning and they made a plan for Massanutten because it is an area that is surrounded by homes that could be impacted if a wildfire were to break out. But they weren't the only group of firefighters working on their skills today. Augusta County Fire and Rescue responding to a simulated fire scenario.
It's kind of making them think, just like it has for us, of things that we need to work on, things that we need to be prepared for.
Using the old Riverhead Elementary School to further their training.
When a building is being closed or repurposed or whatever, if we have the opportunity to jump on it, we always, try to, but it is very few and far between.
It gives them a once-in-a-lifetime experience to try out different scenarios and plan ahead.
What it's really done for all of us is open our eyes to some of the challenges that we face with trying to train guys.
Also planning ahead, Rockingham County Fire and Rescue Squad, working with the Virginia Department of Forestry, figuring out what to do in a wildfire scenario.
You got several homes threatened and things like that. We want to make sure we're looking at everything we need to do to be able to manage and mitigate that emergency.
Using maps and computer software to see how they can best respond and help the people in need.
I'll work through what would you do if this actually happens? Kind of a worst case scenario kind of thing.
Firefighters training in the fall for fire season and preparing for the spring when they say the threat is even worse. And Chief Holloway says people can prevent starting wildfires by taking ash from wood stoves and putting it on a garden and making sure it's out. And if you're burning something outside like leaves, to have a hose nearby in case a fire would get out of hand. Now, the fire department certainly does not anticipate a wildfire to start, but they want to make sure they have a plan just in case.
All right, Marina Barnett in Rockingham County, thank you.
It's a 0 to 102 seconds type deal. And you never know what you're going to expect once you get there.
Aviation fires and crashes aren't common in the valley, but when they do happen, crews say it's important to know exactly what to do.
Fighting an aircraft fire or doing aircraft rescue is a whole lot different than doing vehicles or structure fires and house fires. So having that training and expertise for the personnel and just making them safer and able to provide a service to the citizens when time of need.
Rockingham County Fire and Rescue Chief Jeremy Holloway was at the airport today to train with other firefighters on the Virginia Department of Fire Program's training plane as part of an annual Federal Aviation Administration requirement.
So we try to make sure we're sharpening our skills on just what to do depending upon what we find on arrival of the incident.
The training plane can be configured in a variety of ways, allowing crews to train for different situations, including cabin and engine fires.
Now, in addition to training for fires on board planes, crews are also training for other dangers that come with crashes, including fuel spills.
The biggest thing that I think the public will relate to after 9/11 is the fuel. Jet fuel burns very, very hot. It was enough to burn to melt the steel structures of the towers to bring them down.
Something to think about in keeping crews safe.
Just want to make sure personnel are staying safe, working around these aircraft, now knowing more than I did prior to taking the training on the dangers and the aspects of the aircraft.
Preparing for the unexpected to keep you safe. In Augusta County, Katie Kaler, WHSV.
During energy audits, auditors use special thermal imaging to show where you're losing energy in your home.
So we'll see leaks all around doors.
And so what do you do to combat that?
So you can weather strip your doors. So one of the things that's been done here, I did an audit on this house a while ago, and they've come back and they've started sealing things. So they've added foam and caulk in the joints to stop the air from coming around the door.
So what are the most common places where they find air leaks, and exactly how do you fix it?
So electrical outlets, air leaks, the doors, the windows, the attic access. If there is a fireplace, that's often a big leak. So if you're not actually using your fireplace, they make something called a fireplace balloon. It expands in the flue and it closes it off so you don't get that air leak.
Adding low-density expanding foam and adding insulation around light switches can help insulate the areas. Smart technology is another way to save on your energy bill.
If you get a programmable thermostat, you can set it so that it scales back when you're not at home if you have a consistent schedule, so that you can reduce the amount of heat that you're pumping into your house while you're at work.
Hendricks also suggests switching all lights to LED bulbs to cut down on costs. And some of these changes are as easy as sealing the space between your baseboards and the floor. Reporting in Rockingham County, Marina Barnett, WHSV.
Her story shared throughout the world. Sadie Elledge says this note left on her receipt is racist and disrespectful. Her grandfather, an attorney in Harrisonburg who specializes in immigration, says the outpouring of support for his granddaughter is what he'd hoped for after posting a picture of the receipt on social media.
For Sadie to know that she's a valuable person and that she should never apologize for who she is or where she comes from or what she looks like.
I remember seeing the civil rights movement on the black and white TV.
In 5 short days, she's read thousands of words of support, sympathy, and personal stories. This one from Indiana with a $100 bill inside.
It makes me feel good because, like, they don't even know me. Like, they're complete strangers to me. And, like, they, like, I don't know, I guess you could say they support me even though they have no idea who I am. Like, they just know my story.
Flowers, a makeover offer from a model, and even a full-ride scholarship to Blue Ridge Community College. Sadie tells me she wasn't expecting this strong of a response.
Well, Sadie's going to keep the letters for herself for inspiration, but tells me all of the money that's arriving is going to go toward helping Latino youths in our community.
Her grandfather is donating the money to New Bridges Immigrant Resource Center in Harrisonburg, as well as scholarships for Hispanic students. For him, it's a lesson he says keeps paying forward.
I hope folks will think twice before expressing nasty and hurtful sentiments like that.
In Harrisonburg,
Stick and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Isabel Rosales, WHSV.